Yes, good morning everyone and welcome to the online education for English medium organized by the Education Department of Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai. So today we are going to continue with the fourth session for our chapter that was study of sound for class 9th, right? The subject is science 1. So today it is the last session of this class in which we are going to revise the whole chapter and then discuss the numericals related to the chapter that we are going to have. Okay, so my name is Vishal Sudhir Chaudhary and I am from the Kurar Village MPS English Secondary School. Okay, so let us briefly revise what all things that we have done, all the theory part that we have done previously, and then we will discuss the numericals. Okay, so these many topics we have seen relating to sound waves, velocity of sound, reflection of sound, the human ear, and the various types of sound, that is audible sound, infrasonic, and ultrasonic sound. Okay, so just let us recall all of the topics that we have learned so far, right? So we have seen all of these topics, as you can see: definition of sound, properties of sound waves, then the types of waves, that is longitudinal waves and transverse waves. Then we had seen the certain characteristics of sound waves, right? So if you remember the characteristics like wavelength, frequency, time period, then pitch of the sound, right? Then amplitude of the sound, all of these excuse me, all of these we had studied, right? Then we had also studied the characteristics and properties of velocity of sound, then variation in the velocity of sound. Then we studied the types of sound, that is audible sound, infrasound, and ultrasound. Then we had studied the phenomena relating to a reflection of sound, where we had studied the concept of echo and reverberation, and also applications of sound, that is relating to sonar and sonography. And towards the end, we had studied the concepts relating to human ear. So let us just recall all of this part, right? So first is the definition of sound. So sound is a form of energy which creates a sensation of hearing in our ears. Sound energy travels in the form of waves. A medium is necessary for the propagation of the sound waves. So as you can see in the diagram here, right, from the source of the sound, you can see the air molecules, they vibrate and sound travels in the form of waves. Then sound energy or sound waves gives rise to a chain of compressions and rarefaction in the medium. As you can see the regions of high pressure, they are called as compressions, whereas the regions of low pressure, they are called as rarefaction. And you can see the particle is just moving back and forth. Okay, then next is about the type of the waves, right? And sound waves are the form of longitudinal waves. So in a longitudinal wave, the particle of the medium oscillate about their mean positions in a direction parallel to the propagation of the wave. Okay, as you can see here, the wave is moving from left to right on the screen, whereas the particle, if you can observe the red colored particle highlighted there, is also moving from left to right. So the direction of the motion of the wave and the direction of the oscillation, that is the direction of vibration, is parallel. Okay, then next is what? A sound wave can be shown in the form of a graph. At any moment during the propagation of sound wave, we can find alternate bands of compressions and rarefactions in the medium, that is bands of high and low density. So as you can see here in the diagram, the regions of compressions of high pressure, right, they are shown here by vertical lines which are very close together, whereas regions of low pressure where particles move away from each other, where there is low pressure, you can see they're shown by lines which are spaced further apart. Okay, so you can see also the changes in pressure can be shown with respect to a wave. Wherever there is high pressure, you can see there is a crest which is forming, right? And wherever there is a low pressure, there is a depression which is forming. Okay, then next is what related to velocity of sound. The distance covered by a point on the wave in unit time is the velocity of the sound wave. We know that velocity equals to distance upon time. Any point on the sound wave covers a distance equal to lambda, which is wavelength, in time t, which is the time period. Thus, the velocity is given by v equals to nu into lambda. We know that 1 upon t equals to nu, which is the frequency. So hence, we can rearrange this equation and we get velocity equals to wavelength upon time period, or we can write v equals to lambda upon t. Okay, so velocity of sound equals to wavelength into frequency. So in any medium at fixed physical conditions, the velocity of sound of different frequencies is very nearly the same. The velocity of sound is highest in solids and least in gases. It increases with an increase in temperature of the medium. So as you can see here in the animation, it is just a representation that sound happens to travel fastest in solids, at a moderate speed in liquids, and the slowest in a gas. Okay. Then we had studied also about the variation of the velocity of sound. So first one is what variation with temperature. So the velocity of sound is directly proportional to square root of the temperature. The next is variation with density. So velocity of sound is inversely proportional to square root of the density. And the third is variation with molecular weight. That is, velocity of sound is inversely proportional to the square root of the molecular weight of the gas. Okay. The next concept that we had studied was about the types of sound. So the types of sound is based on the frequencies of the sound waves and whether if the sound waves are audible to us humans or not. Right. So the sound that us humans can hear is called as audible sound, and audible sound is a frequency range from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Means any object which is vibrating at 20 times per second to about 20,000 times per second will produce a sound which will be audible to us humans. The next is infrasounds. Infrasounds have a frequency lower than 20 hertz. Means if any object is vibrating at a speed of less than 20 times per second, then the sound produced by such an object will not be audible to us. The third one is ultrasound. So ultrasound are frequencies having, sounds having frequencies higher than 20,000 hertz. Means any object vibrating more than 20,000 times per second will produce a sound which will not be audible to us humans. Okay. Then let us talk about this audible sound. The limits of hearing of the human ear are 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. The human ear can hear sound frequencies in this range. These sounds are called as audible sounds. Human ears cannot hear frequencies lower than 20 hertz and higher than 20,000 hertz, that is 20 kilohertz. Okay. The next is infrasound. Sound waves with frequency smaller than 20 hertz are called as infrasound. The sound produced by a pendulum and the sounds generated by the vibrations of the Earth's crust just before an earthquake are the examples of infrasound. Then, next is your ultrasound. Sound waves with frequency greater than 20,000 hertz, that is 20 kilohertz, are called as ultrasounds. Dogs, mouse, bats, dolphins, etc. have the special ability to hear ultrasonic sounds. They can sense some noise which are audible to us humans. Children under 5 years of age and some creatures and insects can hear frequencies up to 25 kilohertz, that is 25,000 hertz. Right? Then, bats, mice, dolphins, etc. can also produce ultrasound. Means they can listen and hear to ultrasound, but they also have a very special ability to generate and create ultrasounds. Then ultrasound is used for communication between ships at sea. Then ultrasound is used to obtain images of internal organs in a human body. That technique is made use of in sonography. Then next is it is used to locate cracks and faults in metal blocks. Right, as you can see here in the diagram, the bats use the ultrasound generated by them to locate the prey that they want to eat. Okay, so a small insect which is a food of the bats can be spotted by the echoes generated from the ultrasound which are generated by the bats. And by listening to the echoes, the bats can pinpoint the location of the prey, which is the insect. Okay. The next concept we studied was relating to reflection of sound. Now, just like light, sound waves also obey the reflection of the light, reflection of sound. Okay, means sound waves also obey the laws of reflection in short. So if you can see here, there is a small activity in which we have a hard plywood which acts as a medium for a reflection of sound. Then you have a soft wood partition, and on either sides of the partition you have kept two cardboard tubes. Now these cardboard tubes help to channel the reflected sound. So on one side of the partition we have kept a stopwatch or just a watch in front of the cardboard tube. So the sound coming from the left hand side travels to the cardboard tube, gets reflected from the hard plywood, and then travels onto the other side through the cardboard tube to the listener. Right. So The listener can very distinctly hear the ticking of the clock, which proves that the sound waves are reflected, right, and they obey the laws of reflection. Then, the reflectors of sound are of two types, that are good and bad reflectors of sound. How much of the incident sound gets reflected decides whether a reflector is a good or a bad reflector. A hard and a flat surface is a good reflector, while clothes, paper, curtains, carpet, furniture, etc., they absorb sound instead of reflecting it. Hence, they are bad reflectors of sound. Right. So, as you can see here in the diagram, the incident sound can be either reflected or absorbed in the object, or maybe transmitted on the other side. Okay, depends on the type of the reflecting surface. Then the important concept related to reflection of sound that we studied was echo. An echo is a repetition of original sound because of reflection from some surface. Okay, at 22 degrees Celsius, the velocity of sound in air is 344 meters per second. Our brain retains this sound for 0.1 seconds. So thus, for us to be able to hear a distinct echo, the sound should take more than 0.1 seconds after starting from the source to get reflected and come back to us. Okay. We can determine the minimum distance between the source and the reflecting surface as follows. So distance equal to speed multiplied by time. You know, speed of sound is 344 meters per second multiplied by time interval 0.1 seconds. That gives you 30.4 meters. Thus, to be able to hear a distinct echo, the reflecting surface should be at a minimum distance of half of the above, that is 17.2 meters. Right? Why? Because the sound travels double the distance. That means from the source to the reflecting surface and then again back to the source. Okay, so it travels twice the distance. That is why we have to take half of 34.4, which is 17.2 meters. So the reflecting surface should be at a minimum distance of 17.2 meters for us to hear a distinct echo. Okay, then the next concept was reverberation. Sound waves get reflected from the walls and roof of a room multiple times. Repeated reflections of sound waves from the walls combine to build up what seems like a continuous sound. This causes a single sound to be not heard once but continuously, and this is called as a reverberation. Okay. Some auditoriums, public halls, or buildings are considered acoustically poor because of reverberation. So, to reduce reverberation, the roof and walls of auditoriums are generally covered with sound absorbing materials such as compressed fiber boards, rough plaster, or curtains. Even the materials of the seats is chosen such that it absorbs the sound waves to the desired extent. Okay. Now the next we studied was about sonar. The sonar is a short form of sound navigation and ranging. It is used to determine the direction, distance, and speed of an underwater object with the help of ultrasonic sound waves. Sonar has a transmitter and a receiver which are fitted on ships and boats. So if you observe the diagram here, you can see that on the ship on the bottom side, there is a transmitter which transmits the ultrasonic sound waves which get reflected from the seabed and are captured by the receiver. Alright. So the computer on board the ship calculates the time required for the sound to get reflected and come back, and hence it can calculate the distance between the ship and the seafloor. Okay. Then, so the transmitter produces and transmits ultrasonic sound waves. These waves travel through the water, strike underwater objects, and get reflected by them. So the reflected waves are received by the receiver on the ship. Okay, the receiver converts the ultrasonic sound into electrical signals, and these signals are properly interpreted. The time difference between transmission and reception is noted, and this time and velocity of sound in water gives the distance from the ship of the object which reflects the waves. Sonar is used to determine the depth of the sea and to search underwater hills, valleys, submarines, icebergs, sunken ships, etc. Right? So all of those features inside the sea can be observed with the help of a sonar device. Okay. The next is what a sonography. Sonography technology uses ultrasonic sound waves to generate images of the internal organs of the human body. This is useful in finding out causes of swelling, infections, pain, etc. The condition of the heart, the state of the heart after a heart attack, as well as the growth of fetus inside the womb of a pregnant woman are studied using sonography. So nowadays, all majority of the doctors prescribe the sonography technique as it is harmless and painless, and you get discharged within an hour or so. There is no need for the patient to get admitted to the hospital. Okay. Then now sonography technique makes use of a probe and a gel, as you can see in the diagram. The gel is used to make proper contact between the skin and the probe so that excuse me, so that the full capacity of the ultrasound can be utilized. So you can see on the left hand side there is a sonography machine, the computer which is attached to the probe, right, and the image which is generated on the right hand side on the screen. Okay, so that sonography technician is trained to analyze the image. Okay, then the gel is applied to the skin outside the internal organ to be studied. High frequency ultrasound is transmitted inside the body with the help of the probe. The sound reflected from the internal organ is again collected by the probe and fed to a computer which generates the images of the internal organ. Okay, as this method is painless, it is increasingly used in medical practice for diagnosis. Okay, so as you can see here, the images are obtained as shown in the diagram over here. Then the next we studied was about the human ear. The ear is an important organ of the human body. We hear sounds because of our ear. When sound waves fall on the eardrum, it vibrates, and these vibrations are converted into electrical signals which travel to the brain, to the nerves, right? So the human ear can be divided into three parts, that is the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. So the various parts of the ear are, say, first one, that is the outer ear or the pinna. The outer ear collects the sound waves and passes them through a tube or through a cavity in the middle ear. It is a peculiar funnel-like shape which helps to collect and pass sounds to the middle ear. Okay, the middle ear. Now there is a thin membrane in the cavity of the middle ear called as a eardrum. When a compression in the sound wave reaches the eardrum, the pressure outside it increases and it gets pushed inwards. The opposite happens when a rarefaction reaches there. Okay, so the pressure outside decreases and the membrane gets pulled outwards. Thus, sound waves cause vibration of the membrane. As you can see here, the sound waves, when they pass through the outer ear into the middle ear, what happens? The frequency with which the sound is coming is transferred onto the eardrum, and the eardrum starts vibrating with the frequency of the same sound wave. Okay, and then these vibrations are transferred into the inner ear. Right, let us talk about the inner ear now. The auditory nerve connects the inner ear to the brain. The inner ear has a structure resembling the shell of a snail. It is called as a cochlea. The cochlea receives the vibrations coming from the membrane and converts them into electrical signals which are sent to the brain through the auditory nerve. The brain and then analyzes these signals, right? And we then perceive the sensation of hearing. Okay, so this is what all of the theory that we had studied so far in the previous three classes, right? Now let us move into the numerical examples that are very important from this chapter and just discuss all of those numericals one after the other. Let us see the first example. How long will it take for sound wave of 25 centimeter wavelength and 1.5 kilohertz frequency to travel a distance of 1.5 kilometers? Now remember, students, whenever you are solving numerical problems in science, first of all, you have to write down all the given quantities, all the given variables, right? So first, let us write down the given. The first given is the frequency nu. It is 1.5 kilohertz. So let us convert it into hertz. That is 1.5 to 10 raised to 3 hertz, right? 1 kilohertz is 1000 hertz. And that means 10 raised to 3 hertz. Okay. Then wavelength is lambda, which is 25 centimeter. Again, let us convert it to meter, which will be 0.25 meters because 1 meter is 100 centimeters. Therefore, 25 centimeter will be 1/4 of a meter, that is 0.25 meters. Then the distance that the sound wave is supposed to travel is 1.5 kilometers, which will take as 1.5 to 10 raised to 3 meters, right? We have to calculate the time required. Okay, so first of all, let us calculate the velocity of the sound wave, because we know velocity of sound is equal to frequency into wavelength, that is v equals to nu into lambda. So v is equal to 1.5 to 10 raised to 3 multiplied by 0.25. We have just substituted the values from the given. So we get it as V equals to 0.375 into 10 raised to 3 meters per second. That is 375 meters per second. Is the speed of the sound wave. Right now we need to calculate time required for the sound wave to travel 1.5 kilometer at a speed of 375 meter per second. Right. So we know what velocity is equal to distance upon time. So we can write time is equal to distance upon velocity. So T is equal to S upon V. Right. Distance is 1.5 kilometers. That is 1.5 into 10 raised to 3. V is 375 meters per second. That equals to 1500 divided by 375. So we get time as 4 seconds. Thus, the sound wave takes 4 seconds to travel the distance of 1.5 kilometers. Okay. So you have to write the numerical in the same order. So students, you can take the screenshots of whatever has been shown here. Okay. Now, let us move on to the next question. Ultrasonic waves are transmitted downwards into the sea with the help of a sonar. The reflected sound is received after 4 seconds. Now, what is the depth of the sea at that place? Right. So this is a question related to sonar and concepts just like an echo. Okay. Now remember, what they have given is velocity of sound in seawater. So we can write given velocity of sound in seawater is 1550 meters per second. Okay. Then time for the echo to be heard is 4 seconds. Right. Now remember, for echo to be traveling or for echo to be heard, the sound has to travel a distance from the source to the reflecting surface and then back again to the source. That means it has to travel double the distance. Okay. So time taken by the sound wave to reach the bottom of the sea will be 4 divided by 2, which half of the total time. That is 2 seconds. So you can see velocity of sound is equal to distance upon time. So distance is equal to velocity of sound multiplied by time. So we can see velocity of sound is given as 1550 meters per second multiplied by 2 seconds. We have to write here, right? There's a mistake which is 4. We have to write 2 seconds. So you get the answer as 3100 meters. So the final answer is the depth of the sea at that place is 3100 meters. Right? The next question. Right? This is an interesting one. The speed of sound in air at 0 degrees Celsius is 332 meters per second. If it increases at the rate of 0.6 meter per second per degree, what will be the temperature when the velocity has increased to 344 meters per second? Right? Now, this question is relating to the variation of the velocity of sound with temperature of the medium. Okay, as you can see here, as the temperature rises, the velocity increases. Right? So, what we will read the question again. The speed of sound in air at 0 degrees Celsius is 332 meters per second. Okay, what do they say? If it increases at the rate of 0.6 meter per second per degree, that means when the temperature is increased by 1 degree, the velocity of sound increases by 0.6 meter per second. That means when the speed is 332 at 0 degrees Celsius. So when you increase the temperature from 0 degrees to 1 degrees, what will happen? The temperature increases by 0.6. That means the temperature, the speed increases to 332.6. Okay, so let us convert it into a form of an equation. Right? Let us see the solution. The speed of sound in air at 0 degrees Celsius is 332 meters per second. Okay. Now, if it increases at the rate of 0.6 meter per second per degree, then speed at x degrees Celsius will be what? 332 plus 0.6 times x degrees Celsius. Thus, 344 equals to 332 plus 0.6x. Now remember, at x degrees Celsius, the speed is 344. Right? And at x degrees Celsius, the velocity of sound would have increased by 0.6 times x. That is what we have taken. So 344 equal to 332 plus 0.6x. So if you rearrange this equation, we get 344 minus 332 equal to 0.6x. Therefore, 12 equal to 0.6x and x equals to 12 divided by 0.6. So we get the value of x as 20 degrees Celsius. That means the temperature of the air will be 20 degrees Celsius when the velocity of sound is 344 meters per second. Right? Let us go through it again. See, what is the question? The velocity of sound at the initial temperature 0 degrees Celsius is 332 meters per second. The condition here is for every 1 degree increase in temperature, the velocity of sound increases by 0.6. That means at 1 degree Celsius, the temperature will be 332 plus 0.6. At 2 degrees Celsius, the temperature will be 332 plus 1.2 degrees Celsius, 1.2 meter per second. Are you getting the point? Right. So what they have asked is, what will be the temperature when the velocity has increased to 344? Right. So that is what we have calculated by assuming the equation. Okay. Let us go to the next question. Neeta heard the sound of lightning 4 seconds after seeing it. What was the distance of the lightning from her? The velocity of sound in air is given as 340 meters per second. Okay, let us see. Now let the distance between Neeta and the source of lightning be x. Speed of sound in air is 340 meters per second. Now time taken by the sound to reach Neeta equals to 4 seconds. That means distance equals to velocity of sound multiplied by time, that is equal to 340 multiplied by 4, that equals to 1360 meters. So the distance of the lightning strike from Neeta was 1360 meters, right? That is just a straightforward calculation. Next question. Sunil is standing between two walls. The wall closest to him is at a distance of 360 meters. If he shouts, he hears the first echo 4 seconds and another after 2 seconds. Now, let us try to understand this question first. Now, Sunil is standing between two very large walls. Okay, so one of the walls is nearest to him and the other wall is a bit farther away from him. So you can say that one wall is on the left hand side, the other wall is on the right hand side. Okay, so when he shouts in between, he will hear one echo from the wall to the left hand side of him and another wall from the right hand side of him. Okay, okay. Now, one of the echoes he gets after 4 seconds, right? And another echo he gets after another 2 seconds. That means a total of 6 seconds. Okay, let us see what they have asked. What is the velocity of sound in air and what is the distance between the two walls? Okay, so let us talk about the solution. First one, time to hear the first echo is 4 seconds. Distance traveled by the sound wave in these 4 seconds will be 360 multiplied by twice the distance, that is 2m. Okay. Now speed of sound equals to distance upon time, that equals to 360 multiplied by 2 divided by 4, that equals to 180 meters per second. Right. Okay, so velocity of sound in air is 180 meters per second. Okay, then next is what we have to calculate distance between the two walls. Okay, now time taken to hear the second echo is 4 seconds plus 2 seconds, that is 6 seconds. Right, now distance traveled in these 6 seconds is twice, right, because the sound has to travel back and forth. Okay, now speed of sound in air, as we have calculated in the previous solution, is 180 meters per second. So we will make use of that speed, right? So speed of sound in air is 180 meters per second. Therefore, twice the distance equals to 180 meters per second multiplied by 6, that equals to 1080 meters. So 2x is equal to 1080 meters. Therefore, x equals to 540 meters. Right? So that means what? One of the walls is at a distance of 360 meters, and the other wall is we have calculated at a distance of 540 meters. Right? That means the wall on the left hand side is at a distance of 360 meters. The wall on the right hand side is at a distance of 540 meters. So the total distance between the two walls, the additional distance, that is 360 plus 540 meters, that is equal to 900 meters. So the distance between the two walls is 900 meters. Very easy. Okay. The next, let us see some extra numerical examples. Right. So first one, a person fires a gun standing at a distance of 55 meters from a wall. Okay. If the speed of sound in air is 330 meters per second, find the time for an echo to be heard. Right. Now, if you remember, the minimum distance, right, for an echo to be heard is about 17.2 meters. Right. 55 meters, definitely more than that. So definitely you are going to get the echo of the gunshot. Okay. So let us see what is the given. Now given distance s equals to 55 meters. Speed of sound in air, that is v, that they have provided is 330 meters per second. Right? We have to calculate the time for the echo to be heard. Now speed of sound equals to distance upon time. Now excuse me. The distance that we have taken is 2s. Why? Because the sound has to travel from the gun to the wall and back again to the gun, which is held by the listener. Okay, so the sound has to travel twice the distance. That is why we have taken distance equal to 2s. Right? So therefore, t equals to 2s upon v. Right? And the value of s, distance, is 55. So 2 into 55 divided by 330, which is the velocity of sound, that equals to 110 by 330, that equals to 0.3 seconds. That means the time for the echo to be heard is 0.3 seconds. Okay. Then next, one more extra numerical example. Right? A sound wave has a frequency of 2 kilohertz and a sound wave has a frequency of 2 kilohertz and a wavelength of 40 centimeter. Right? How long will it take to travel 1.6 kilometers? Now this question is based on the formula of sound, speed of sound equals to frequency into wavelength. Now let us write down first of all the given facts. The first given is frequency. The frequency nu equals to 2 kilohertz. Now remember, 1 kilohertz is 1000 hertz. So 2 kilohertz will be 2 into 10 raised to 3 hertz. Right? Then wavelength they have given in centimeters, that is lambda equals to 40 centimeters, and we know 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. So 40 centimeter will be 0.4 meters. Right? Then the distance that the wave is supposed to travel is 1.6 kilometers. So 1 kilometer is 1000 meters. Therefore, 1.6 kilometers is equal to 1600 meters. Okay. So we know speed of sound v equal to frequency nu multiplied by wavelength lambda. So v equals to nu into lambda. So the value of nu that they have given is 2 into 10 raised to 3 hertz, and the distance lambda, wavelength, they have given as 0.4 meters. So we multiply 2 into 10 raised to 3 multiplied by 0.4. So we get 2000 multiplied by 0.4, that equals to 800 meters per second. So here we have calculated the speed of the sound as 800 meters per second. Right? Now what is the question? How long will it take to travel 1.6 kilometers? Right? So we know speed equals to distance upon time. So we can say time equals to distance upon speed. Right? So distance that a wave needs to travel is 1.6 kilometers, that is 1600 meters, and velocity is 800 meters per second. Right? So dividing 1600 by 800, we get 2 seconds. Right? That is the final answer. Okay. That is how we have completed the chapter, and we have discussed several numericals. Right? So before we conclude the chapter, let us go through all of the numericals once again. All right, so that it will be better for the students. Let us discuss the first numerical again. How long yeah, excuse me. Now, how long will it take for a sound wave to travel 25 centimeter wavelength and 1.5 kilohertz frequency to travel a distance of 1.5 kilometers? Means how long will it take for a sound wave of 25 centimeter wavelength and 1.5 kilohertz frequency to travel a distance of 1.5 kilometers? So what we have done first is, first of all, we'll write down all the given terms, right? So the first given term is frequency. Frequency nu equals to 1.5 kilohertz, that is equal to 1.5 into 10 raised to 3 hertz. Then next is wavelength lambda equals to 25 centimeters, which is 0.25 meters. Right? Then distance s equals to 1.5 kilometers, which is equal to 1.5 into 10 raised to 3 meters. Right? So we need to calculate the time. Now for this, first of all, we will have to calculate the velocity of sound. The velocity of sound is frequency into wavelength. Right? So velocity v equals to nu into lambda. Right? So v equals to nu, which is 1.5 into 10 raised to 3 multiplied by 0.25. So we get 0.375 into 10 raised to 3, which is 375 meters per second. Now we have first here calculated the velocity of sound. Right? Now let us calculate the time required to travel 1.5 kilometers. Right? So velocity equals to distance upon time. Okay? So we can write time equals to distance upon velocity. Okay, so T equals to S upon V, that equals to 1.5 kilometers, that is 1.5 to 10 raised to 3 meters, divided by 375 meters per second, that is equal to 1500 divided by 375, which equals to 4 seconds. Thus, the sound wave takes 4 seconds to travel the distance of 1.5 kilometers. Okay, let's go into the next question. Ultrasonic waves are transmitted downwards into the sea with the help of a sonar. Okay, so this is a question related to sonar device. Okay, the reflected sound is received after 4 seconds. What is the depth of the sea at that place? And given velocity of sound in seawater is 1550 meters per second. Let us write down all the given first. Velocity of sound in seawater equals to 1550 meters per second. Time for the echo to be heard is 4 seconds. Time taken by the sound waves to reach the bottom of the sea, that equals to 4 by 2, that equal 2 seconds. Now why we have taken 4 by 2? Because the sound has to travel from the sonar device to the bottom of the sea and back to the sonar device. That it has to travel twice the distance, so it will twice the time. So now velocity of sound equals to distance upon time. Okay, so velocity distance is equal to velocity of sound multiplied by time, which is 1550 multiplied by 2. There should be 2 here, it is a mistake. That equals to 3100 meters. So depth of the sea at that place is 3100 meters. The next question. The speed of sound in air at 0 degrees Celsius is 332 meters per second. If it increases at the rate of 0.6 meters per second per degree, what will be the temperature when the velocity has increased to 344 meters per second? Now this question is related to what variation of velocity of sound with temperature. As we know, as the temperature increases, velocity of sound increases. Okay, now what they have mentioned here is with every 1 degree increase, means when temperature increases by 1 degrees, the speed of the sound increases by 0.6. Okay, so you can assume when the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius, they have given velocity is 332. So when the temperature goes from 0 to 1 degree Celsius, that velocity will increase by 0.6, that is 332.6 meters per second. Okay, now the twist here is they have given the final velocity, that is 344 meters per second. You have to calculate the temperature. So we'll just formulate it in the form of an equation. The speed of sound in air at 0 degrees Celsius is 332 meters per second. Now, if it increases at the rate of 0.6 meters per second per degree, then speed at x degrees Celsius, which we have to calculate x, equals to 332 plus 0.6 x degrees. Now speed at x degrees is 344. So we can substitute it. 344 equals to 332 plus 0.6x. On rearranging, we get 344 minus 332 equal to 0.6x. We get 12 equal to 0.6x. We get x equals to 12 divided by 0.6, which is 20. That means the temperature of the air will be 20 degrees Celsius when the velocity of sound is 344 meters per second. Quite easy. Okay. Next question. Neeta heard the sound of a lightning 4 seconds after seeing it. What was the distance of the lightning from her? Okay. So the velocity of sound in air is 340 meters per second. You might have observed this, right? Whenever you see a lightning, the sound, which is the thunder, comes several seconds later. Why? Because speed travels much slower than light. Okay, so always you will get to see the lightning first and then the bang sound, which is called the thunder. So lightning arrives first and then the sound of thunder comes in. Okay, so let the distance between Neeta and the source of the lightning be x. Okay, speed of sound in air is 340 meters per second. Okay, the time taken by the sound to reach Neeta is equal to 4 seconds. So distance is equal to velocity of sound multiplied by time, which equals to 340 meters per second multiplied by 4, which equals to 1360 meters. So distance of lightning from Neeta was 1360 meters. Okay, quite easy. Next question, interesting one. Sunil is standing between two walls. Okay, there are two walls between which Sunil is standing. So you can say one wall is on his left hand side, the other wall is on his right hand side. Okay, the wall closest to him is at a distance of 360 meters. So you can say the wall which is closer, say the left side wall is closer at 360 meters. The wall on the right hand side is a bit farther away than 360 meters on the right hand side. Okay. Now, if he shouts, he hears the first echo after 4 seconds. See, the first echo after 4 seconds means it will be coming from the wall closest, which is the wall on the left. Okay. And another after 2 seconds means after getting the first echo, he gets the next echo after 2 seconds. Means the second echo comes after a total of 6 seconds. Okay. What they have asked, what is the velocity of sound in air? And second, what is the distance between the two walls? Okay, let us see the solution. Time to hear the first echo is 4 seconds. Distance traveled by the sound in these 4 seconds will be 360 multiplied by 2. Why? Because the sound has to travel from Sunil to the nearest wall and then back again. That means 360 multiplied by 2 plus the distance. Okay. Now, speed of sound equal to distance upon time. Right? We can see 360 multiplied by 2 divided by 4 seconds, that equals to 180 meters per second. So here we have completed the first part of the sum, that is the velocity of sound in air is 180 meters per second. Now let us talk about the second question. What is the distance between the two walls? Now, as we had assumed, let the wall closest to him be on the left hand side, which is at 360 meters. Okay. The wall on the right hand side is farther away than 360, but we know time required for the sound wave is 2 seconds more. Right? Let us see. Time taken to hear the second echo is 4 seconds plus 2 seconds, that is 6 seconds. Distance traveled in this 6 seconds will be twice 2x. Okay, we know speed of sound in air is 180 meters per second. Okay, therefore from the formula, speed equals to distance upon time, distance equal to speed multiplied by time. So distance is 2x but equal to speed is 180 multiplied by time, that is 6 seconds. So 2x is equal to 1080 meters. So x equals to 540 meters. That means the wall on the right hand side is at 540 meters, the one on the left hand side is 360 meters. So total distance between two walls is equal to 360 plus 540, which is equal to 900 meters, right? So distance between the two walls is 900 meters, right? Let us see one more extra numerical. Okay, a person fires a gun standing at a distance of 55 meters from a wall. If the speed of the sound in air is 330 meters per second, find the time for an echo to be heard. Okay, so let us see, we have distance given as 55 meters. Speed of sound in air is 330 meters per second. We have to calculate the time, right? So we know speed of sound equals to distance upon time, right? Now because it is an echo, right, it should be what? The distance from the gun, means the person firing the gun, to the reflecting wall and then back again to the person holding the gun. Okay, that will be twice the distance. So distance is equal to 2s, that is twice the distance, and time is t. Therefore, time t equals 2s upon v. Just rearranging the formula. V equals to 2s upon t. So t is equal to 2s upon v. We have just rearranged it. Right? Now we know the wall is at a distance of 255 meters, which is s. So we can see 2 into 55 divided by velocity, that is 330. So we get 2 into 55 upon 330, that equals to 110 upon 330, that is 0.3 seconds. So the time for the echo to be heard is 0.3 seconds, right? Then the last numerical. A sound wave has a frequency of 2 kilohertz and a wavelength of 40 centimeters. How long will it take to travel 1.6 kilometers? Now here, first we will have to calculate the velocity of the sound wave. Let us write down the given first. A frequency nu is 2 kilohertz. We know 1 kilohertz is 1000 hertz, that is equal to 2 into 10 raised to 3 hertz or 2000 hertz. Velocity lambda is 40 centimeter. We know 1 meter is 100 centimeter. So 40 centimeter will be 0.4 meters. Now remember, you have to convert all of this into the SI system or MKS system. Okay, meter, kilometer, second. Okay, then the distance given is 1.6 kilometers, that is 1600 meters. Okay, now we know the formula. Speed of sound, that is v, equals to frequency nu multiplied by wavelength lambda. Hence v equals to nu into lambda. We know the value of nu, 2000 hertz, that is 2 into 10 raised to 3 hertz multiplied by 0.4 meters, that equals to 2000 into 0.4, which is equal to 800 meters per second. Now here in the first part, we have calculated the velocity of sound, that is 800 meters per second. What is the second part of the question is, how long will it take to travel 1.6 kilometers? Right? So we know what that is speed, we know distance, we can calculate time, we know speed equals to distance upon time. So on rearranging, we get time equals to distance upon speed. So distance traveled is 1.6 kilometers, which is 1600 meters, and speed is 800 meters per second. So we get time equal to distance upon speed, which is 1600 meters divided by 800 meters per second. So we get the time as 2 seconds. Right? So thus we have concluded the chapter. We have discussed all the numericals previously seen. Right? So I will hope students to solve the questions, solve the numericals. Right? Okay, and then we will meet in the further topics. Okay. Yes. Madam. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, madam. I have concluded the chapter. You can.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, madam.